Welcome to the story in your head. Today, we are going to talk about how to get promoted. And I have some things that I've been reading, Ron, that I want to run past you. Do you have a question before I launch?
Nope, go ahead.
All right,
Let's get it.
so I just Googled this, looking at Harvard Business School, their HBR, and here's their advice for someone who wants to get promoted successfully. Okay, so number one, be a model employee.
No,
Okay. Number two, solve problems. Don't just identify them.
no,
All right. Number three, respect your boss's time.
no,
Okay. Number four, don't be a squeaky wheel.
no, no. I'd say just the opposite. Be a squeaky wheel.
All right. You're kind of breaking this down here. Number five, serve as a vault, like with
What
information.
serve as? Oh, you mean like don't spread rumors? Don't
Yes.
don't spread gossip. Okay,
Yes.
okay. If you get information, keep it to yourself.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. No.
Okay. Number six, make your boss look good.
Well, that's not too far, right, from that space. But most of these look like these are reasons that you wouldn't get promoted versus why you would get promoted. So, what else you got?
Okay. There are several. Ask for advice, speak up, project confidence, and advance your education.
Oh, yes. That one never works.
All right. So I just gave
Bottom
you,
line never works.
I like, I gave you some advice that's pretty standard out there in industry, but you said
It's
no to everything. So
yeah, it's common knowledge, and if you do those things, it could eliminate you from being promoted. Like, if you spread rumors, if you do like all those are like okay, we can't have that person because they do all these things, right? But that's not why you would get promoted. That's not the space. That's not why you get promoted.
Ron, then we're all listening.
We're,
So
we're,
what's going to take? What's it going to take to get promoted?
that you're able to do the job, and others can assess you as being able to do the job. That's the fundamental hit, right? And if you had like somebody had a conversation with you and they said they could do this, like they could do this job, this one that we have for them, they could do that, right? That's your best shot at getting a promotion. Now, what is that? I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff that goes into that. Like, well, why would they say you could do the job, right? Well, you've handled the kind of responsibility that this job has. Not the same responsibility, but you've handled and led a team, or you've handled this project, or you've done something that shows that you can handle that kind of a responsibility before, right? Because they don't want to put somebody in and go, well, what is it? The old management by ponds. Well, we need somebody to do this job. You grab somebody, you throw them in the pond, you go, oh look, he swims, right? Grab somebody, throw them in the pond, and go, oh no, they didn't swim, they sank. Oh, that's too bad. Oh, but the one that swam, okay, good. Let's pick them up and put them in another pond. Oh, they sunk, right? That philosophy of putting somebody in and seeing what they can do, nobody wants to try. Nobody wants to do that. They want to hire somebody who can do the job,
Mm-hmm.
which means if you want to get it promoted to a job, first thing you got to understand is what is the job? Like really, what is it? What does it entail? Like what are the financial responsibilities? What are the human resource responsibilities, like the people part of it? What is the technology part of the job? What are the expectations? Like by when do they want to be to a certain place? What do they want to fix the revenue? Do they want to increase the productivity? Do they want to gain new customers? Do they want to shrink in size? Like what is the goals that they want? And then can you do it? Like can you do it? And this is not a space of, okay, I can reshape all those stories I've had in the past to make them look like I can do this job. Can you do the job? This is what they're going to ask.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's anything that's in that space that you go, that part I can't do, like be clear about that. Because what they're looking for is somebody who can do the job and is aware of their own weaknesses, like where their gaps are, where they're going to fall short, where they need help, where others are going to be looking to help. And they go, do we have, and when you bring forth a gap or a limitation in your space, they can go, okay, we got that help. Like we got, I'm not really that good with finances. Like that's a space I've done project accounting. I've done a limited P&L, but I've never had a full P&L, right, in this space, profit and loss responsibility. And you go, okay, we got this finance guy who's really good at P&L stuff. He can help you understand that. Oh, okay, good. Then I think this is a possibility. When I'm looking to hire somebody, I have one criteria. Can you do the job, right? And how much breakdowns are you going to cause me, right? Because if I'm hiring you, how many breakdowns are you going to cause me? And are you aware of them? Are you aware of your shortcomings, your gaps, your spaces, and all that stuff, right? And do I think that you'll also fit? Like, if you can do the job, that means you'll also fit into the culture. Like if you're in a company that just says, I just care about profit, and you come in and go, well, I really care about developing people, and it's about taking care of the people so that they can produce a good life for themselves and take care of our customers. The people who are saying you can't do the job because really it's all about making money, right? And then they're going to go, so you don't show up as a candidate who can do the job. But if they're a company that says, no, we want to grow our business, we want to bring in more people, we want to grow in a way that's creative and in that space, and you go, and we care about our people, right? Do you have proof that you have cared about people? Where's your stories about where you have cared about people? Because what really matters is, can you do it? And you never know when you hire somebody. Like you never know. Well, this is our best shot, right? And they know that. But when they can eliminate as many of the other things, right, that could cause them trouble, cause them pain, because you're now in this job and you have this responsibility in this space, then they're going to be more apt to hire you. So
To promote you.
To hire you. And promotion is really hiring again, right? You're in a company, you got a job, right? And they're going to hire you for this new job. Promotion, that's what a promotion is. You're getting hired into a new job. Now, all of this is like in the moment of there's a job opening, right? So that's a conversation you have with yourself around it. Like they say, okay, Deb's leaving and we're going to hire somebody to replace Deb, and now it's opening, right? At that point, you're about 2 to 3 years late.
Let's say more about that.
Okay. So like careers aren't accidents. Like you don't put your thing out on LinkedIn and they go, oh, look, I got hired as a vice president. That's really cool, right? No, figure out what jobs you want to hold. And like, let's say I was working for Deb in this situation, right? And it was like, someday I'd like to have that job. I'd like to have Deb's job, right? So have the conversation with Deb in this situation, right? So Deb, what does it take to do your job? Like, what skills do you need to have? What experiences do you need to have? What has helped you? What has not helped you? How can, like, if I was going to get ready, what am I missing? Because I don't want that job now, but I will want it in 3 to 4 years, right? Because that's the space I want to go to. And even if it's not your job, Deb, I know there's jobs, there's Deb's and there's Ron's and there's all these other people's jobs. All those spaces are spaces I want to be in. What skills do I need to build? What skills do I need to build so that when the assessment time comes, I could actually be assessed as being able to do it, right? So now you know like what's required, and you could also figure out what your gaps are. So that's 2 to 3 years before you want that promotion. And most hiring managers want somebody that will enjoy doing their job, right? Like they're fun to come to work. They enjoy what they're doing and they're having fun. So one of the key factors as to whether you're going to get promoted or not, do you love the job you have? It's not like a choice, right? And wait, no, it is a choice. It's not like it's like you show up and you go, I like my job. I don't like my job. Like that job's not very good for me, right? Do you like your job? You choose it to like your job. Do you enjoy doing your job? Because if you enjoy doing the job you have now, you'll probably enjoy doing the next level job. So showing that you enjoy working in the organization, you enjoy contributing, you enjoy doing whatever the culture requires of you in that space, it will also be that way for the next level up. So do you love your job? And like, let me say that. It can occur to people that when I say, do you love your job? It's like, well, I got lucky and got the right job, so I love it, right? Versus like, no, I have a job and I love it. Like loving it as a choice and a conscious space where people look at you and go, you really like what you do. I do like what I do. That's who they're going to promote because they want somebody who's going to like doing the next job, right? And not like show up and go, okay, I need a promotion now. I got here. I haven't been here for 6 months. I need a promotion. right? I'm ready to go on to the next step. No, you want to show up as you enjoy the job. It's like fun for you, and you can actually have fun doing it. And then you have the skills to do that. So that's a fundamental for getting promoted is to have fun while you're there in the job you're in, right? You're doing that not to get the promotion. You're doing it so that the people can see that you are like you want to be in the business. Because one of the things that people are going to look at is, do they want to be here? If they don't want to be here, they're not going to promote you. And they don't go like, well, this is a story you can make up. Well, he doesn't like the job he has, but he'll probably like the new job.
Right.
Well, it has
Because
more
there's
money.
a perfect job with a perfect person. As long as those two match exactly, we all know that's the way it works, right?
So, yeah, no, that doesn't. And that's what they're looking for. Now, the danger, right, is that you have like some relationship with somebody who's hiring, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I say that's the danger because one of the most common ways to get promoted is because your friend is the hiring manager, right? And you get promoted up. The danger with that is you don't have the skills to do it and you really don't want to do it. But the person who is hiring wants you to do the job because they can trust you. And you take the job, but you don't have the skills and you don't want to be there. And it's a disaster waiting to happen. And it is very difficult for the person who hired you into that position to fire you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like there's no place where you can go, okay, we're going to demote you back down. Doesn't work. Nobody ever gets demoted and makes it and survives. I've seen it 7 times and they always leave. Like we as humans don't seem to have the dignity to step backwards and be okay in like our responsibilities. If we can not get promoted, be happy. But if once we get promoted and we go back down, in general, I've seen it work one time out of 8. And it's just a challenge. So the danger is if your friend promotes you, then you got to watch out because you may have to leave the company if it doesn't work out.
Well, and I think about the stories too, because I certainly have been in organizations where other people questioned why someone got a promotion, right? And the fact that they were brought in because they were a trusted confidant of the hiring manager, then the stories could start. He just got this job, or she just got this job because she knows them, right? She's not competent. All those stories that can come with it make it really hard to be in that role.
Anytime you get into a new promotion, there's always going to be, excuse me, anytime you get into a new promotion, into a new role, either you're hired in or you're promoted up or hired up to another level, there's always going to be people who had a story that they should have had the job.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were the right person for the job, whether they had been there longer, whatever their story, like all kinds of stories they can come up with why they got there. But when you actually have the capacity to do the job, within about 6 to 8 weeks, even those people will go, yeah, they're pretty good at that.
Yeah.
Like they're pretty good at that job. Like I see why they hired them, right? Because they can do the job. Where if somebody gets promoted because they're friends or whatever, that story will never go away. Yep. Why do you get that job? Because who he knew. Do you follow them? Only as much as I have to, until hopefully they're going to move on quick. And you go, I hope their friends get promoted quickly, so they'll move their next all up, right? Which is a weak stand, but it is not that uncommon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how it appears is if there is confidence in how people get promoted, who gets promoted, are they competent to do the job? That also opens up space for people to see themselves being promoted for not a reason like I have to become friends with this person, or I have to do exactly what they say, or I have to play the politics, right?
And if you would never get promoted, and you follow every step. Like I didn't spread gossip. I made your boss look good and all that kind of stuff, and you'll never get promoted. And then you will develop a frustration working at the company that could make it to where it's difficult for you to stay and work at the company because of the fact that you don't understand why you're not getting promoted. When The reality of everybody's situation is you haven't built the skills required for that job yet. And you're not even trying because you're just doing all these other tips and tricks and techniques to not piss the boss off, but you're not showing that you can do the job.
Yeah. So part of it is about not only demonstrating that you can do the job, but being that demonstration for others. I'm working on this a little bit because, you might not have the same opportunities because of the new role, right? You might not have the same kind of opportunities in one role as you did in another, but being able to demonstrate your competence. I don't know. Help me out here, Ron. I'm like, someone's being hired into a role, promoted into a role that they've never held before. And let's talk about being a manager. Okay. They've only been responsible for themselves. And now in their new role, they're going to have to be responsible for others.
Mm-hmm.
But they've never had to demonstrate that. How do you assess their competence in that?
There are always opportunities to be a leader of others in any situation. Everything from some party, a party or a celebration or something like that inside of a business, or a project or something with a customer. There are always opportunities to lead other people, to look at those roles like little tiny projects. And you can take on those roles and they show up. And for somebody who is busy with their job, not looking to get promoted, those things can occur as distractions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, I don't want to help set up the ping pong table after work on Friday. No, I don't want to do this. And no, I don't want to do, I'm busy doing work. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to do all those things, right? And all of those are opportunities to show leadership, right? To show that you can do those jobs and to build the skills on how to do that, right? Coordinating volunteers is like one of the best training grounds for leadership, right? Because the metaphor is herding cats, but everybody can say no.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody can say no, right? And you could join a homeowners association, you could, alumni association. There's all kinds of places where you can get that experience, right? If that's a part of your ambition. Like if it's to say, this is where I want to go. I want to be a manager, right? Well, what does a manager do? I don't know. Go find out from the manager who's got it. Say, what are your responsibilities? What are all the things you deal with? Right? And then you come back. Now, saying that you do your job really well, so I should be the manager of people who are doing their job really well, is very much like saying, I want to teach second grade. What are your accomplishments? I finished first grade. So now I can teach I'm in second grade. I can teach first grade, right? Because I did it already, right? And you're going like, that's not the skills required to manage people to say you actually did it. And we see that a lot. Like, oh, this guy's a really good coder, so we'll make him in charge of all the coders, and they don't know anything about how to lead people, organize teams or structures and all that kind of stuff. And they suffer. And then the business loses the really good coder.
Yeah.
And all the other coders are pissed off now because they don't have somebody who knows how to manage or lead an organization. So, right. So the if you have a story in your head that I'm really good at my job, so I should be able to manage people who do my job, not the same job. And to take it one more level, like you have producers, and then put my hands in close enough here, right? You have producers and you have managers, right? And then you have a leader, right? And just because you someday figure out how to be a manager of a group of 5 people, right? It doesn't mean you have the skills to be a leader of 5 managers and 50 people. That's a whole different set of skills to lead somebody who's a manager than it is to manage somebody who's an employee. They're not the same skills, not the same spaces, not the same stories, nothing, right? So if you someday, let's say you were saying, I just got hired on here, and someday I'd like to work here for 10 years. And in 3 or 4 years, I'd like to look at being a manager. And maybe 3 to 4 years after that, I'd like to be a leader of the whole engineering department or something, right? Or marketing department. Start figuring out what those requirements are and figure out, do you even want those jobs if you got it? Because one of the hugest mistakes made by us humans is we say, I want that job. Why do you want that job? Because it pays more.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Bigger benefits or some other reason.
So there's some financial reason to do that. And I'd go, just take your money and go buy a rental house. You're going to make more money. Right? Don't get into this space, right? Management and leadership, it's all the headaches and no more money.
Yep.
Right? That's the fundamental space. And The first time I became project manager of the entire project, right? So I had 150, 160 people, $3.5 million budget. I was the lowest paid person in the project. And I know this because I signed everybody's paychecks. I was going like, labor more than me. Well, this whole getting the promotion thing's really working out for me right now, right? Woohoo, right? And, I wrote checks to the laborers, and then you had fitters and boilermakers and ironworkers and millwrights and all that stuff above that. And I was going like, and then you had craft labor supervisors. Woohoo, man, those guys, like, they're worth it. But they make a lot of money. And here I was, a 25-year-old kid in charge of the whole project. And I was the lowest paid person in the project. Hourly wage, lowest paid person. So if you're doing it for the money, no. But if you want to make a difference for an organization, if you want to create a world that people have fun at work and can create a space where you have a world you want to create by getting the promotion to become a leader, yes. And then money will show up. Like at a time you will get to the place where you're making enough money and doing that kind of stuff, but it won't be immediately. And I really kind of, let's say this, I got perturbed because everybody went, well, now you get a boss, you're making all this money. I'm going, no, it doesn't work that way. It's not that. That's not how it works. Like the mechanics aren't there, right? And I was okay with it because I was getting paid with something that was much more valuable than currency. It was my capacity. I learned so much from the craft labor supervisor. I learned so much from working with millwrights and pipe fitters and boilermakers and foremans and union halls and the customer and operators and the executive management of power plants, and all those people taught me stuff every day. And so I was making a lot, but it wasn't currency.
Yeah. You said something also that triggered me. And I've worked in a variety of different companies, some that did things great and some things could have been better. And the noticing that if I'm going to promote someone into my job, that means I'm looking for my next opportunity too. Because if I am scared of someone being promoted into my role, like, oh my gosh, what if they do it better than me? Or if I am not looking to grow myself, promoting others could look not like an opportunity, more like a threat.
Very much so. I'll share my stand developed after like living in the world, right? I spent about the first 6 months in a new job, like figuring out how to take care of the team and how to grow it and learn the business and what can I learn and how can I do all that. And then I take on this little extra side project called finding my replacement. Right. And first time I did it, I go, oh, I found my replacement. One, that's stupid. Really my mistake. Never just find one replacement, find 3 people and then start to build their identity as being capable and then see what happens to the world. How do the executives and all that stuff go along? And the first person this is the person that's going to take my job. This is great. Right. And then they left. What happened was they got promoted on to something else before I got a chance for them to take my job. And then I was sitting there with nobody to replace me. Right. So the goal is if you ever want to get promoted on, part of your responsibility is to make sure there's candidates that could take on and do your job. And if there's nobody in the business to do that, then it makes it harder for them to promote you, because if they promote you on, then they're going to have to, all they did was just go, okay, I took care of this one problem and I got another problem. I didn't really solve my problem.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to have a space for others to make it easy for them to see you can do your job because there's somebody who could take in and do your job. And also be ready that they may not trust your assessment. Like there's a world where you go, nobody's going to have a better understanding of your group that you're leading than you. The people who are above you who would replace you, they don't see it like you do.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're saying this is the candidate, right? And they go over and pick the other one, and I go, do you want my input on that particular person, right? And they go, no. Okay. Right? And that's who they went with. And that's not my responsibility to influence them and what they're doing as you leave. It's really about me to make sure they've got an option. And then whatever they want to do with the business after I'm promoted on and gone to someplace else, that's up to them. It's the new person's role, new person's world.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you've made it seem like it's a lot. It's not as straightforward as the articles would seem to. There's a little bit more to it than
Yeah.
being the model employee, and I don't even know what that means.
What I make up is it's like you got to look like a model, right? Like you need to look good, dress good, show up on time. You got to like it's just like the model employee. Perfect little thing,
Cookie
right?
cutter.
Cookie cutter, but it's about results. What can you produce? Do people follow you? Can you lead this? That's what they're looking for. How much breakdowns are you going to cause by getting this role? And being the model employee doesn't, because you're a model employee at that job as a professional, doesn't mean you're going to be a model employee as a leader. People are looking at, can you do the job?
Yeah, that's great.
So thank you. Great conversation today. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you, Ron. Like, I'd like to end with something a little bit lighter.
Good. What do you got?
Oh, I'm going to just completely switch it up for you. And I'm going to say, what was your favorite cartoon when you were a kid?
No doubt. Hands down. By far. In fact, I had to go buy them because I couldn't find them for a while. And then now that you can find them on, I don't know what it's on, but I found it on my table. Schoolhouse Rock. I love those.
Oh,
I just love those cartoons. Conjunction, junction. I waited for the commercial break between cartoons to watch those because you learn something, right?
yeah.
I'm just a bill, right? I'm only a bill. And I memorized those. Now, what was humorous to me was I loved them, right? I finally bought them on DVD and I showed them to my kids and they went like, snoozer, right? Bored to death. But for me, they were cool. How about you?
Well, I have to admit, I have them on VHS. I might be the only person on the planet to still have a VHS player. You know, my favorite was the Pink Panther. And, there's nothing but music in the Pink Panther. There's
That's right.
no dialogue. So you got to watch and create the stories that were going on. Like, you created all the narratives yourself and you created the dialogue and everything. And I just thought that was amazing.
Well, yeah. Looking back at those, there was so much expressiveness in, I guess I call it Clouseau, but I don't know if that was the name of the character because they didn't talk, right? But the Pink Panther was so expressive because his expression never changed, right? But you made up so much how calm and collected and cool he was. But Clouseau was like all over the place.
So it was all your stories. And I mean, it was
Yeah.
almost like reading a book, but watching it because you got to make it all up. And I thought that was
so
really
cool.
fun.
That is fun. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, thank you, Ron. Anything we'd like to say to close?
Well, I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
Well, the key nugget from our conversation today is to get a promotion, first, don't start when the posting goes up. Right? Figure out where it is you want to go. And then when the posting comes up, you see if you've been developing yourself to fit into that role, right? And know that whoever's going to hire you is going to be looking at you and saying, one question, can they do the job? And if they say yes, then they're going to ask a second question was, where are they going to cause me pain elsewhere? Like that, and that's it. And if you go, they can do the job and they won't cause me any pain, you're going to be at the top of the list.
That's awesome. That's great.
Cool.